Hello everyone, this is a compilation of every news and news stuff that at the time of writing those episodes, which are from 1st to the 30th of June, are what I deemed worthy for a curated Filipino audience. Only the hard-hitting stuff. Though here are some of the suggested news I may have missed that my audience felt needed to be said. Let's go to the vortex, that is the comment section. These are the top headlines for June 1, 2023. Gay Month Corporation starts milking everyone gay. NWRB reduces Maynilad and Manila waters by 2 cubic meters per second. MIF bill can be brought up to the Supreme Court, and kaagapay exercises in Mariveles, Bataan in full swing. What's up, guys and lesbos and trances and queeros or something? In addition to, NWRB reduces Maynilad and Manila waters by 2 cubic meters per second. The NWRB will be reducing the allocation of waters of Maynilad and Manila water from the Angat Dam starting June 16 to 30 in an attempt to mitigate the risk of over-extraction, which may cause water depletion to alerting levels due to El Nino. MIF bill can be brought up to the Supreme Court. The non-Yayin senators support bringing up the MIF bill to the Supreme Court, citing the test for economic viability of such an enormous bill and the hastiness of which the bill was discussed by the Senate and adopted by the House of Representatives, so that would be fun. Kaagapay exercises in Mariveles, Bataan is in full swing. Joint Kaagapay maritime exercises of the Philippines, US, and Japan with Indian and Australian observers commenced for exercises in search and rescue operations along with according to maritime law. The PCG reiterates that this is not about the dispute in the West Philippine Sea and South China Sea. These are the top headlines in June 2nd, 2023. PNR stations to be shut down. eGov.ph app launch. 45% optimistic of better life according to SWS survey. And RCEP, a knife in the back. PNR stations to be shut down. PNR stations to be shut down from Calamba, Laguna to Alabang, Muntinlupa will be shut down on July 2 to 2028 for the construction of the North-South Commuter Railway, which may put more pressure to the already crumbling and barely surviving transportation infrastructure in the Greater Manila area. Another section of the railway will also be closed down around October from Manila to Alabang. The North-South Commuter Railway aims to cut travel time in half from Clark, Pampanga to Calamba, Laguna. Commuters will have to find some alternatives to the railway. eGov.ph app. The eGov.ph super app, terrible name by the way, was launched together in the opening of the National ICT Month, promoting digitalization and modernization in the ICT sector, both in governmental service, security, financially, and record keeping. The DICT signed a memoranda of understanding with 26 governmental agencies, and many more to come, and serve as a one-stop shop platform for all governmental services. The app enables users to pay taxes, renew license, apply for permits, register SIM cards, file a complaint or report, store government-issued IDs like an e-wallet of sorts, tourist spot information, nearest hospital or malasakit centers, and many more to come. 45% optimistic of a better life. A recent SWS survey found that 45% of Filipinos are optimistic of better life in the next 12 months, while the other 46% says nothing will change. RCEP, a knife in the back. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which aims for free trade, lowering or even eliminating tariffs that protect local products and free flow of goods both in and out of the country. However, many signals worry due to the inherent incompetitiveness of the agri-fishery and forest sectors of the economy, which could kill local businesses after struggling to stay afloat for decades of neglect with the little to no substantial governmental assistance that they have been pining towards for millennia. This may kill local businesses and widen the trade deficit we have with other countries due to imminent influx of imported goods in the country. The Philippines will be joining the RCEP, China, Australia, Japan, Indonesia, Thailand, South Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, Singapore, Vietnam, Brunei, Cambodia, Myanmar, and Laos. And lastly, the headlines for June 3rd, 2020. 100,000 UP hopefuls takes UPCAT. Maritime exercises China welcome. Bowie lays land claims for the Philippines. 100,000 UP hopefuls take UPCAT. It has been 3 years since the start of the pandemic when UPCAT was replaced temporarily by UPCAT, where your admission chances will be on the hands of your past self and their apathy in learning from 8th to 11th grade. I myself was one that did not pass the UCA back in 2022. Passed PUP, but out of the 100,000, only 10,000 will be accepted according to UP Office of Admission. Maritime exercises, China welcome. After the joint trilateral Kaagapayan maritime exercises, the Philippine Coast Guard encourages and says they're open to conduct maritime exercises with China along with other countries. 3 countries' exercises will last until the 7th of June. Buoy lays land claim for the Philippines. 10 buoys released last month which outlined the borders of the West Philippine Sea remain. This is an important step taken by the PCG to assert our territorial truth, a signal we will not be taking it lying down. Goes for me, this is for Joseph, and welcome to News I Deem Worthy Recap, weekly edition number 2. This episode starts from the headlines for the Sunday, 4th of June 2023 to Saturday, 10th of June 2023. If you want to have a background on what I do and the gist of it all, you can watch the first episode or the description in the first and second videos. So get ready for the news and news stuff. These are the news headlines for Sunday the 4th of June 2023. Groups against land reclamation projects voice out. Taal volcano spews white smoke, FIVOX alert level 1. And 1 million food stamps program by DSWD. Groups against land reclamation projects voice out. Numerous groups voice concerns and dismay to numerous land reclamation projects that affect the natural, marine, human, and economical advantages for the locals of said projects. Now, if I'm to be asked about this, the most popular populist thing I could say is protect the environment, protect the fishermen. However, many of these land reclamation projects, which if had done their due diligence and environmental impact assessment and offsetting, would be overall good for the entire economy. Sure, there will be downsides, but the Philippines is ranked 8th largest fish producing nation according to DAR-BFAR in 2020. The disruption of fisheries could be offsetted by opportunities for a lot more, probably even transitioning to a few mechanized and efficient forms of fishing, while those that couldn't could become industrial workers instead of staying in the dirt poor, backwards agri-fisheries sector. Taal volcano spews white smokes, FIVOX alert level 1. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology announced nearby regions and municipalities near Taal volcano and Taal Lake to stay at alert level 1 after spewing white smoke for an extended period of time. 1 million food stamp program by DSWD. DSWD is set to launch food stamp program for 1 million poorest of the poor Filipinos. Each card holders of the food stamp program would receive 3,000 of credit to be spent with partner grocery store nationwide. They're said to have a mechanism to monitor what the cards actually bought. The foods bought up by the card shall be up to a certain threshold of nutritionality, or else this will be spent unwisely. DSWD USAC claims the need for 40 billion peso budget for the first year implementation of the social welfare program. The program will first have a dry run among notoriously underdeveloped and overdeveloped regions all over the country. These are the news headlines for Monday the 5th of June 2023. Taal volcano spews white smoke, FIVOX alert level 2. New DND and DOH Secretary, veterans at the job. Israeli Foreign Affairs Minister visit the Philippines. Diokna aims to be on selling spree at 2.5 billion pesos. Taal volcano spews white smoke, FIVOX alert level 2. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology announced nearby regions and municipalities near Taal volcano and Taal Lake to stay at alert level 2 after spewing white smoke for an extended period of time. Yes, I repeated it. The new DND and DOH Secretary, veterans at the job. Gilberto Gibo Teodoro Jr. has sworn in to PBBM as the Secretary of National Defense, previously serving as the DND Secretary under former President Gloria Arroyo from 2007 to 2009 after almost a year of vacancies and us being served with acting OICs or officers in charge. Almost a month after the 1-year ban for cabinet appointments of losing candidates after Teodoro failed to grab a Senate race, placing 15th in the 12-seat race garnering around 13 million of the vote. Walter Derbosa, after a long-awaited appointment amid the COVID-19 debacle, PBBM chose Dr. Teddy Arbosa as the Department of Health Secretary, who served as the 2010 to 2015 Health Undersecretary under Aquino, and an advisor for the NTF for COVID-19 pandemic. Like the DMD office, after almost a year of vacancies and us being served with acting OICs and undersecretaries, he is considered a largely controversial figure due to the questionable statements in jest or in seriousness, especially during the pandemic community pantry 2023 debacle and his statements regarding such acts. Israeli Foreign Affairs ministers visit the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Israel visited the Philippines for bilateral talk. The minister shed light on hope of a direct flight from the Philippines to Tel Aviv, probably finding more allies and upping their PR campaign to defend what's happening in Israeli-occupied Palestinian lands, and to strengthen bilateral trade between the two nations, targeting $1 billion in trade, though most likely just going to widen the trade deficit of the Philippines, considering Israel exports more than it imports from the Philippines. Jokna aims to be on selling spree valued at 2.5 billion pesos. Department of Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokna does what every capitalist, profit-driven government official does: sell government assets valued over 2.5 billion pesos. Have we already not learned that the purpose of a government-provided service was to first serve the people and elevate their experience and not profit? It's okay if indirectly the programs don't give an immediate profit for the next quarter. Think long-term, you guys. Don't go around selling stuff to private companies, especially if it's of utmost important producer of goods or services. We can't afford to outsource the management of something important to our people, no matter how unprofitable it is. If the masses gain from it in some other way, it will be an offset. If the finances are the problem, make it efficient. There isn't any incentive a corporation that a government can't have, whether that be economically, fiscally, or politically. These are the news headlines for Tuesday, 6th of June, 2023. Inflation eases from 6.6% last April to 6.1% this May. Graft case filed against DA Undersecretary. NBI recommends cases to DOJ against MT Princess Empress. Manila Central Post Office fire, an accident. Inflation eases from 6.6% last April to 6.1% in May. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, inflation continues to ease down to 6.1% this May 2023, down 0.5% from April 2023, but still 0.7% higher last year. Graft case filed against DA Undersecretary. Numerous organizations filed case of graft against Department of Agriculture Undersecretary due to controversial questionable moves regarding sugar smuggling importation being authorized without the sugar order. However, the Sugar Regulatory Board defends the DA Undersecretary, citing low production of sugar in the country to be devastating. NBI recommends cases to DOJ against Rail, PCG, and Marina. The NBI recommends cases to DOJ against MT Princess Empress's owner, PCG, and Marina. Cases include use of falsification of documents and perjury to the nature and length of service of the boat, which recent investigations shows it was only repaired and rebranded in Navotas as new. An unauthorized shipyard in Navotas was busted conducting repairs and rebrand old ships with new paint jobs. The oil spill by the MT Princess Empress oil tanker costed an estimated 9.5 billion pesos in environmental destruction, excluding disruption of life in Mindoro. DFP, Manila Central Post Office fire, an accident. According to the Bureau of Fire Protection, fire that engulfed the Manila Central Post Office, a historical building in Manila due to its grand neoclassical architecture and rehabilitation after the World War II bombings, was deemed an accident. It's estimated the destruction of fire is valued at least 300 million pesos. Renovation talks now on the way. New Director General of TESDA, Suharto Magudadatu. PBBM appoints former Sultan Kudarat Governor Suharto Magudadatu as TESDA's Director General. These are the news headlines for Wednesday, 7th of June, 2023. DND Secretary Teodoro's mandate pension management, Laila de Lima bail petition refused, and DOH Secretary's Herbosa's mandate. DND Secretary Teodoro's mandate pension management. According to DND Secretary Gebo Teodoro, PBBM's marching orders to restructure and manage pensions of the military and uniformed personnel. Though I feel like their pension structure should be just like the civilian. I'm not disrespecting our patriots. However, the fund is losing money and would be gone by 6 years if the bleeding is not stopped, according to Marcos himself. DOH Secretary Herbosa's mandates. Secretary Ted Herbosa to focus upon national health, tuberculosis cases, HIV in the youth, teenage pregnancy, just compensation to healthcare workers to combat brain drain or professionals leaving the country, and universal healthcare. Laila de Lima bail petition refused. The Muntinlupa Regional Trial Court refused to grant bail to former Senator Laila de Lima. The appeal was filed after a certain hostage taking in Camp Crame happened last. The court believes the hostage-taking of the former senator was an isolated case and that the presumption of guilt is very strong. Though it should be noted that the 2 other cases was thrown out against De Lima. Free Laila De Lima now. 6 years of detention under agitated resident after confrontation of CHR's De Lima and former mayor of Davao City, Rodrigo Duterte. These are the news headlines for Thursday, 8th of June, 2023. National simultaneous earthquake drill in full swing. Teodoro, UP-DND Accord stays dead. Ex-Senate Presidents Drilon and Soto urges Senate to back down. National simultaneous earthquake drill in full swing. LGUs and other government agencies participated in a live national simultaneous earthquake drill to prepare for likely devastating and overdue earthquake. The simulation envisioned a 7.2 magnitude earthquake. Can I just say this? These simultaneous earthquake drills aren't the hyped up preparation classes they hype it up to. Even the officials stay at this stage to duck, cover, and hold. This is purely ceremonial and most likely declarative because it will look good, but in cases where there may be a real earthquake, I don't think these will be appropriately and timely applied. At least the officials. I understand and know that a lot of our EMT personnel do take this seriously, but it just looks bad when the officials sit there while also pretending this is a state-of-the-art simulation. According to FIVOLKS, the effect of a magnitude 7.2 earthquake, if it hits at night, is around 60,000 dead and 120,000 missing in NCR, Central Luzon, and Calabar Zone. Teodoro, UP-DND Accord stays dead. According to DND Secretary Teodoro, the UP-DND Accord stays dead amid push for revitalization and renegotiation. The UP-DND Accord is an agreement way back in 1989 that keeps military and law enforcement officers from entering UP campuses without justification and prior notification for the safety of educational liberty with no risk of expulsion. The accord was terminated in 2021, which sparked outrage not only in the UP community but also among many beneficiaries of the accord's groundbreaking precedence of students' liberty without looming fear of unjustified retaliation from the military. Ex-Senate Presidents Drilon and Soto urges Senate to back down. Ex-Senate Presidents Franklin Drilon and Tito Soto urges the Senate to back down the energized spree due to PBBM's certification of the bill as urgent, passing Maharlika Investment Fund Act, and revise the details that could be struck down by the Supreme Court in a judicial review. These are the news headlines for Friday, 9th of June, 2023. NAIA Terminal 3 brownout, voluntary national learning camps of DepEd, and April employment increase. NAIA Terminal 3 brownout. NAIA Terminal 3 experienced a blackout after equipments were left behind while an audit was taking place for replacements and upgrades. Most probably due to the December 31 and other similar instances of NAIA Terminal brownouts. The timing is opportune and incredibly timely when the terminals was said to be privatized or PPP, public-private partnership, in maintenance, renovation, and operation, costing around 150 billion pesos according to DOTR. A burden by the government that could not be bared by anyone. That's really good timing for the proponents of the sellout. Coincidence? I think not. Voluntary National Learning Camps of DepEd. DepEd plans to launch national learning camps from July 24 to August 25 from first grade to senior high school of their jurisdiction. The program aims to revise the students and teach them further of topics that may be insufficiently taught through time constraints and other factors that plague the education sector during the summer break. PSA, April employment increased. According to a recent statistic by the Philippine Statistics Authority, unemployment went down after a 707,000 or a 0.3% increase in labor participation and up to 2.43 million or 1.2% increase in April 2022. Yet wages are still stagnant, showing our overworked and underpaid population, not to mention underemployment and jobs/skill mismatch. According to PSA's Facebook page, the unemployment rate went down to 4.5% or 2.26 million unemployed Filipinos over the age of 50. Though why are they including 15-year-olds? These are the news headlines for Saturday, 10th of June, 2023. Bagyong Chedeng continues to ravage archipelago. PCG to buy drones from Australia, Czechia, Germany, and Israel. Juan Luna's masterpiece Holy Grail found. Marcos' sister disappointed amid passing of the Maharlika bill. Bagyong Chedeng continues to ravage archipelago. This is a long neglected story, but Typhoon Guchol, or its local name Bagyong Chedeng, continues to ravage the Philippine archipelago. It is estimated that the typhoon, even after leaving the Philippines' area of responsibility, will continue to bring in southwest monsoon or habagat, which will bring more rain to the country. At least our water supply will stabilize. Bagyong Chedeng is the third tropical cyclone of the expected 20 to 25 typhoons that regularly appears through the Philippines' area of responsibility. Philippine Coast Guard to buy drones from Australia, Czechia, Germany, and Israel. The Philippine Coast Guard plans to buy from numerous offering vendors of drones to secure our maritime borders even further and bolster modernization and intelligence gathering of the Coast Guard. The drone selling offers are from Australia, Czechia, Germany, and Israel. Juan Luna's masterpiece, Holy Grail, found. More than 100 years has passed since the last time the public saw hero Juan Luna's masterpiece, which was given the title of The Holy Grail of the Philippine Arts, entitled Hymen o Himeni, which depicts a Roman wedding which won a bronze medal in Paris, France in 1899, and is now on display in Ayala Museum in Makati. Marcos' sister disappointed amid passing of Maharlika bill. Senator and presidential sister Amy Marcos publicized her disappointment regarding the rush job done by the Senate, bereaving any questions regarding the nature of the investment fund proposed by Senator Mark Villar and the quick adoption of the House of Representatives of the bill. You'd think she'd like it. This may seem weird, however, the Marcoses aim to rehabilitate the Marcos name, and this kind of rush job only solidifies the animosity against their family name. The Marcoses would be to blame if this fund, which has a budget of 500 billion pesos, were to be littered with graft and mishandling of funds. She said there's a lot of stuff to iron out regarding the bill. If we can recall it, she was absent in the voting of the bill as it was conducted in the middle of the dawn around 2:30 a.m. when it will be noticed that Senator Amy Marcos, along with Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel and Senator Francis Cheese Escudero, was absent. Kumusta Vormi? This is Vor Joseph, and welcome to News I Deem Worthy Recap Weekly Edition number 3. What is up, news people? What is up? Are you all ready for some news stuff? How about some news smoothie? Let's news it all up like a big news goose deuce. The episode starts from the headlines for the Sunday 11th of June 2023 to Saturday 17th of June 2023. So get ready for the news and news stuff. These are the news headlines for Sunday 11th of June 2023. Not much, to be honest. It's just rain ravaging through the archipelago, causing flash floods in everywhere, along with some mountains blasting. New toll hike in NLEX, and SpaceX launched Maya 5 and Maya 6 from our very own. Rain and stuff, volcano and stuff. Rain and stuff caused flash floods in Manila. Not that much to talk about. It's again about Bagyong Chedeng, who in Monday got out of the Philippines area of responsibility. New toll hike in NLEX. New toll hikes in NLEX has been planned and implemented in June 15, 2023. According to the Toll Regulatory Board, only half of the hike will be implemented on the 15th, while the rest would be implemented in 2024. With Class 1 vehicles upping 7 pesos, Class 2 or buses at 17 pesos, and Class 3 or trucks at 19 pesos in the open system of Balintawak, Caloocan, and Mindanao Avenue to Marilao, Bulacan. While new toll fees in closed systems from the north of Marilao to Santa Ines, Mabalacat City, upping Class 1's toll 26 pesos, Class 2's with 65 pesos, and Class 3 upping at 77 pesos. In total, the end-to-end route from Metro Manila to Santa Ines, Mabalacat City has Class 1 vehicles up 33 pesos to a new fee of 332 pesos. Class 2 vehicles at up to 81 pesos to a new fee of 829 pesos. And Class 3 vehicles up 98 pesos to a new fee of 995 pesos. It's inflationary, that's what they say. SpaceX launched Maya 5 and Maya 6 from our very own. SpaceX launched Maya 5 and Maya 6 into orbit to the International Space Station on the 5th of June 2023. These cuboid satellites are made by our very own UP Diliman students and DOST. These are the news headlines for Monday 12th of June 2023, and happy 125th Independence Day, Philippines. 125th Independence Day celebrated. Former Senator, Congressman, and AFP Chief Rodolfo Biazon died at 88, and VP Sara Duterte in Brunei. 125th Independence Day celebrated. The country celebrated the 125th Independence Day of the Philippines from the Imperial Spanish. We've gone so far from the roots of our revolutionary fervor, and to think it all started from a series of sacrifices is unsurprising. The Philippines is a free nation as it stands, but many of our liberties and sovereignty assertions are at risk of escaping in our hands or taken, an offense to the people, the nation. We have the duty to keep this gift of us for the future generations of thinkers, workers, and heroes. We are the nation. The nation's people is the name of the nation we currently fly for. No matter what nation we may want to call ourselves, the people is the essence of that name, because the people is the nation. And it is imperative to assert our rights as a sovereign nation against any attempts to undermine our autonomy. They shall be met with a great deal of force only the people of our nation can deliver. Former Senator, Congressman, and AFP Chief Rodolfo Biazon died at 88. The former Senator and AFP Chief Rodolfo Biazon died at the age of 88. The nation mourned the death of the former Senator Rodolfo Biazon, a veteran who had served the Philippines for 30 years. His stint in the politics, according to his peers, has done a great deal to the promotion of welfare and well-being of our veterans, among other things. He was there when the EDSA People Power Revolution was taking place, along with a series of coup d'etat attempts the new republic faced. VP Sara Duterte in Brunei. Our Vice President and Department of Education Secretary Sara Duterte met up with Brunei Darussalam Crown Prince Al-Muhtadi Billah, pronouncing that wrong, along with their attendants, the meeting with the Southeast Asian Minister of Education Organization Council. These are the news headlines for Tuesday, 13th of June, 2023. Philippine government plans to exacerbate brain drain in the country. Laila de Lima files motion for reconsideration. Former Mayor of Caloocan City acquitted, and 50 police officers' criminal cases filed in the Ombudsman. Philippine government plans to exacerbate brain drain in the country. The Philippine government has done it. They finally streamlined brain drain in the country, more efficient than ever. The government has made it easy for brain drain more than ever via a scholarship fund for aspiring Filipino nurses that foreign nations vying for low-paid professional nurses of our country. I mean, how magnanimous of them to fund their nurses through scholarships. Isn't that amazing? To think we only just gave them their COVID-19 allowances after numerous delays shows how little we think of our healthcare workers and workers in general. We only pay lip service and nothing more. We're just exacerbating the brain drain and the complications in our healthcare system. Low wages drive our nurses abroad for a low wage abroad, but at least in the context of another country that needs its nurse. Even if with prejudice, they cut some wage off. What the F is happening? Professionals leaving the country. Yeah, they have better chances abroad, but you know who wouldn't? The Filipino people in its entirety. Because instead of forcing our government to govern, well, friggin' Jean-Jacques Rousseau would be rolling right now. We let them take and take through graft and mismanagement because we elect unqualified people to run the country, only serving their vested interests. While our workers slave away in foreign nations for pasalubong, balikbayan boxes, and remittances. Just we're good in English. That's it. We're properly educated, and those that are left in the country, those uneducated, or those living paycheck to paycheck, victimized by the system. Those willing to stay are treated poorly. I mean, have we no shame? Have we no logic? What a mess. As long as the people choose wrong, we all shall fail. Laila de Lima files motion for reconsideration. Former Senator Laila de Lima filed a motion for reconsideration with regards to her failed bail petition. We'll remember that last week, the Muntinlupa RTC rejected the bail appeal of the former senator after 6 years of detention. Under agitated precedent over the Vigilante Davao Death Squad issue against CHR, of which de Lima was the chairwoman of, allegedly, and the fact that 2 out of 3 cases filed against her is junk, the third ongoing. Former Mayor of Caloocan City acquitted. Former Mayor Recom Echeverry with those mustache circle face frame has been acquitted by the Sandigan Bayan over the case against him buying barangay officials' life insurance that did not go through a public bidding to ensure competitive pricing. 50 police officers' criminal cases filed for in the Ombudsman. NAPOLCOM or National Police Commission has filed criminal cases against 50 police officers over the 990-kilogram methamphetamine or shabu haul in the Ombudsman. These are the news headlines for Wednesday, 14th of June, 2023. Palace declares June 28th a national holiday. Islamic jihadist terrorist leader dead, and Chinese Navy training vessel visits Manila. Palace declares June 28th a national holiday. The Malacanang Palace has declared June 28th a national holiday in observance of Eid al-Adha or Feast of Sacrifice in solidarity of our Muslim population. Islamic jihadist terrorist leader dead. If we can recall from the first episode of the NIDW Recap Weekly Edition series, we remember the headline regarding a terror threat in Marogong, Lanao del Sur by the ISIS-affiliated group Dawla Islamiyah. Yes, that was a typo. While in an encounter, the leader of Dawla Islamiyah has been neutralized in an encounter against AFP in former battleground due to the Maute terrorists tourist, now booming metro thanks to the government, Marawi. Chinese Navy training vessel visits Manila. In this tense time, this headline would be alarming bells, but fret not, Filipino people. According to the Chinese Navy, this is but a friendly visit in order to strengthen the Filipino-Chinese relation. These are the news headlines for Thursday, 15th of June, 2023. NWRB maintains 52 cubic meters per second. And DNR urged to include waste scrappers in the WCS. Earthquake shocks the country. A 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck Calatagan, Batangas that has shocked the nation at around 10 a.m. I actually felt this and was notified by my friends while I was making a script for a larger video I'm planning to release. Something about an iceberg and Filipinos. It was a freaky experience considering it actually lasted a lot longer than what I would have expected. As far as we know, there was no major casualties, both dead or infrastructure in the brink of collapse. NWRB maintains 52 cubic meters per second. I don't know if I've said this in the first episode of the series or it's under the May document, but the National Water Regulatory Board has agreed to maintain the water allocation of Maynilad and Manila waters from the Angat Dam, at least temporarily, from June 16 to June 30. The allocation was supposed to be cut down to 50 cubic meters per second, which alarmed bells in the entire region, but due to two storms ravaging through the country, namely Bagyong Betty and Chedeng, in less than 20 days, we can assure that it ain't going away anytime soon. DNR urged to include waste scrappers in the WCS. Due to water pollution and our over-reliance to single-use plastic, the Department of Environment and National Resources has urged the inclusion of waste scrappers and independent entrepreneurial waste collectors as part of the waste collection system amid passing of the Extended Producer Responsibility Law or the EPR law last January, which aimed to implement rules and regulation for proper recovery, treatment, recycling, and disposal of wastes. Under the EPR, obliged companies are mandated to recover 20% of their plastic footprint from the year before. Although I was once a mangangalaka and those junk shops just sells them off back to establishments where they came from. Let's make it harder for them to reach the 20% threshold to have a meaningful impact to the people and environment's welfare. The Philippines also pollutes river systems through waste mismanagement, with the Pasig River being named the world's most polluting river in the entire world, and the Philippines in its entirety the world's worst polluting country. Go Philippines! These are the news headlines for Friday, 16th of June, 2023. 200,000 fertilizers from China arrived. OVP gave gays and women's organizations 150,000 pesos, and judge gave up in the Lima's case. 200,000 fertilizers from China arrived. The absentee secretary of Department of Agriculture, who is it, will stay in their position until the department finds a way to keep commodity prices low. The DA secretary accepted 20,000 metric tons of fertilizers from the People's Republic of China, costing around 782 million pesos. That is said to be distributed to 100,000 farmers nationwide or more. The move was said to be an evidence of sincerity and friendship of the Philippines and China, and an additional 4 million pesos sack of rice for those affected in the disturbance near Mayon volcano. I mean, why are y'all even there? I wonder what steps would an absentee secretary of the Department of Agriculture with a large budget could do to keep community prices low. OVP gave gays and women's organizations 150,000 pesos. The Office of the Vice President of the Philippines has given 150,000 worth of livelihood assistance for select gays and women's organizations, personally handed by our Vice President and Department of Education Secretary, Sara Duterte. The gays is a joke. I mean, not really. The gays is just the LGBTQ+, okay? I mean, making a joke. Though now that I've thought about it, nah, it's okay. Judge gave up in the De Lima's case. The Muntinlupa Regional Trial Court judge holding Laila De Lima's case has inhibited himself from presiding over the case after junking petition by De Lima's camp for bail. I feel like there may be some heat coming to the judge's side, though that's but a speculation. It's just that the wording in the denial of the bail appeal was so adamant of plausible fault that this is a very suspicious time to just drop the case. Though there's also the fact that Laila's camp has issued some probing regarding his kinship with the lawyer who assisted one accused in the execution of his sworn affidavit, which was later testified by the same person to be coerced, citing possible conflict of interest, that being his brother. Guess they were hoping they wouldn't find out, though they said there's no reason there could be a conflict of interest, but they don't want the judgment of the court to be questioned because of that very possibility. These are the news headlines for Saturday, 17th of June, 2023. Batangas Mayor and two siblings arrested. PCG, Mindoro oil spill cleanup, a done deal. Batangas Mayor and two siblings arrested. Mayor of Batangas Mayor was arrested along with his two siblings of possession of unregistered, unlicensed firearms and explosives. Glad they're cracking these people up. I mean, the case of the Negros Oriental governor's death, Degamo, has been talked about along with the suspicion of a congressman's involvement in the killing. The compound of the congressman has been littered with the very same thing this mayor was arrested for, along with unsafe impromptu gun ranges in the area, also especially since the congressman don't even want to show up in person. PCG, Mindoro oil spill cleanup, a done deal. The Philippine Coast Guard has declared that the cleanup of the mess has been finished. The cleanup was prompted after an oil tanker carrying around 800,000 liters of oil has plunged and destroyed the islands of Mindoro, causing around 9.5 billion pesos worth of environmental damage, not including government welfare, along with the cost of the cleanup. Kumusta Avormi? This is Avor Joseph and welcome to News I Deem Worthy Recap Weekly Edition number 4. This episode starts from the headlines for the Sunday, 18th of June 2023 to Saturday, 24th of June 2023. These are the news headlines for Sunday, 18th of June 2023. Burnt ship in Bohol, Turkish nationals survived yacht explosion in Batangas, and another earthquake in the archipelago. Burnt ship in Bohol, passenger ferry caught on fire as it sailed off to the port of Tagbilaran in the province of Bohol. The ship was named MV Esperanza Star of Co Shipping Lines, coming from the port of Ladzi in Siquijor to its destination in the port of Tagbilaran. The passenger ferry had hundreds of customers fleeing for their life, or swimming actually. Turkish nationals survived yacht explosion in. Two Turkish nationals was rescued after a yacht caught on fire and exploded in the seas near Nasugbu, Batangas on June 16. Another earthquake in the archipelago. If we can recall from the previous episode of the series, there was again another earthquake. Now today, the earthquake, a 5.5 magnitude earthquake, occurred in the islands north of Luzon in Cagayan on the 17th of June 2023. These are the news headlines for Monday, 19th of June 2023, and happy birthday to me. Only me, okay? No J Riz or something. LRT fare hike, 3 million peso reward for former Bucor chief and his deputy, and her boss plans to employ unlicensed licensed nurses. LRT fare hike. LRT lines 1 and 2 stations will start to hike fares by 21% starting August 2, upping 2.29 pesos for boarding fee or entering said line and additional 21 centavos per kilometer traveled by the train. So for those who have those beep cards, the entire length of LRT 1 from Roosevelt to Baclaran would be 35 pesos. I mean, it's still pretty cheap if you all things considered. And for the entire length of LRT 2 from Recto to Antipolo at 33 pesos. To those that don't like the new fare hike, well, you can be rest assured with the fact that this is a long time coming, not to mention that the government has been subsidizing almost half of the fares. 3 million peso reward for former Bucor chief and his deputy. The DOJ and NBI posted a reward for anyone who could find and bring the former Bureau of Correction chief Gerald Bantag for 2 million pesos and his deputy Ricardo Zulueta for 1 million peso amid investigations regarding the killing of local journalist Percy Lapid. Herbosa plans to employ unlicensed licensed nurses. The DOH Secretary Ted Herbosa has plans of giving nurses temporary license to hire those who has not yet passed the board exams. They'll figure something out, but the reason why nurses flock to other countries, or brain drain as we commonly know it, is for numerous reasons, especially underemployment and, loss of opportunities abroad, not to mention the wage. We can repeat all of that ad nauseum with all the jib-jabbering and everything in between, but if Ted Herbosa wants to keep them here, we'll have to give them a reason to be here. They'll heed it because, they want to be in the Philippines. Or at least many of them want to be in the Philippines. Because some really just wanted to get out of here because of the very the systematic approach to the fuckery of it all. These are the news headlines for Tuesday, 20th of June, 2023. Navotas ammonia leak explosion and GMA embraces its showtime. Navotas ammonia leak explosion. A cold storage facility was engulfed in flames after an ammonia leak and fire at the Icy Point Cold Storage in Barangay North Bay in Navotas. GMA embraces its showtime. The GMA Corporation has embraced the long-running popular noontime show of their rival adjacent TV channel, It's Showtime, after TV5, under another smaller competitor, had incorporated the trio Tito, Vic, and Joey, or TVJ, for a noontime show in July 1 after It's Showtime was booted off of the slot for the noontime show. This debacle all started after a rift between the trio of Philippines' longest-running noontime show and arguably the face of it all, Tito, Vic, and Joey, and their production company Tape Incorporated, who had a contract with GMA7 for the noontime slot until 2024. The launched show after the departure of the trio was not well received by longtime viewers, and so It's Showtime will be seen in GMA's GTV while probably wait for the expiration of the contract with Tape Incorporated. Maybe they could move it to there. These are the news headlines for Wednesday, 21st of June, 2023. Tax evasion caught. Tax evasion caught. 3 companies were caught by the NBI and DOJ of alleged tax evasion and falsification of forgery of documents, valuing at around 18 billion pesos, especially something related to tax and mangniningil. Coining in progress, okay? Don't try to steal that. Will come to you. Yes, mangniningil. That's what I'll call tax collectors now. These are the news headlines for Thursday, 22nd of June, 2023. Marcos will sign the Maharlika Bill. Marcos will sign Maharlika Bill. According to our Lord and Savior Ferdinand Marcos Jr., he will be signing the Maharlika Bill as soon as the bill reaches Malacanang, despite murmurs by dissenting voices like the Senate minority consisting of 2 people and even his own sister. Though she has changed tune saying, let's just support the administration or some shit, okay? Guess she had some talking and reflecting done. Senate President Zubiri has already signed the bill and will be waiting for the House Speaker Romualdez to transport it to Malacanang Palace. These are the news headlines for Friday, 23rd of June, 2023. COA, 7 of 10 prisoners overcrowded. Marcos to continue golden age of infrastructure. And new BSP governor appointed. COA, 7 of 10 prisons overcrowded. According to the Commission of Audit's report, 7 of 10 prisons or 323 out of 478 jails in the Philippines are overcrowded, with one reaching a congestion rate of 2,639%. This is, according to COA, is in violation of the UN's minimum standard rules for the treatment of prisoners, basically stating that even those deprived of liberty through criminal acts committed shall be treated with dignity. Now, I don't really care whether that is the consensus to be had, but many points out that prisons should be all about rehabilitation and not punishment. Though those sentiments are probably from a wealthier and unproblematic country, which ours isn't, we can't afford to treat prisoners right, because we can't even treat our law-abiding citizens right through social safety nets and social welfare. Calabarzon has posted the largest number of congested jails with around 60, followed by NCR and Central Visayas with 36. Marcos to continue golden age of infrastructures. President Bongbong Marcos aims to bring back the golden age of infrastructures that his father has started, dictator Ferdinand Marcos Sr. Though I would have agreed with him if he said former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, or at least because he's the only one I actually was aware of. New BSP governor appointed. President Bongbong Marcos has appointed Eli Remolona as new BSP governor of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Think of him as Jerome Powell, you know. These the news headlines for Saturday, 24th of June, 2023. Malabon jail warden suspended and alleged union busting by DepEd. Malabon jail warden suspended. After a viral protest by the prisoners of the Malabon City Jail, the warden presiding over the prison has been suspended due to alleged abuse and transfer of detainees. This is fitting because just the day earlier, it has been found out by the COA report that 7 of 10 prisons are congested and the help of rehabilitation is not the first priority but punishment, and inadequate help has been cited for prisoners. Alleged union busting by DepEd. ACT Party List or Alliance of Concerned Teachers Party List has expressed dismay over DepEd memo which allegedly aimed to find a list of members of the Alliance of Concerned Teachers Union which may be allegedly used for profiling, union busting, and red tagging. Though DepEd has released a statement disavowing any profiling allegations by any of the party lists, citing the fact that they're for the people. Yeah, right. And that's the end of the News I Deem Worthy Recap Weekly Edition from June 17th to June 24. Kumusta Vormi? This is Avor Joseph, and welcome to News I Deem Worthy Recap Weekly Edition number 5. This episode starts from the headlines for the Sunday 25th of June to Saturday 1st of July 2023. These are the news headlines for Sunday 25th of June 2023. Bloody encounter and Filipinos safe amid mutiny in Russia. Sulu bloody encounter. 5 dead and 18 wounded government unit with an encounter when attempting arrest with the former vice mayor and alleged MILF official in Maimbong, Sulu due to a murder case and alleged illegal possession of firearms. 6,000 residents from 3 barangays was evacuated amid the shooting. Filipinos safe amid mutiny in Russia. In a mutiny rebellion by the Wagner Group, sort of a private militia hired by Russia like Blackwater, has marched down from the south of Moscow attempting a coup d'etat. The leader of the Wagner Group released a statement in a Telegram channel dictating the reason for them marching to Moscow to Kremlin, citing alleged trickery of the defense ministry, which, to be fair, is just an extension of Putin. The leader of the Wagner Group was basically saying that the defense ministry has tricked Putin into thinking that there's anything remotely happening in Ukraine that fateful day. And also some targeting of his men due to an airstrike gone wrong. Belarus has said to have brokered a cease deal that led the Wagner militia to back down. Filipinos are said to be safe, although panic has ensued regarding the attempted coup. These are the news headlines for Monday 26th of June 2023. Seafarers need more education. And Carlito Galvez Jr. and a suspended attorney Larry Gadon appointed. Seafarers need more education. In response due to a recent update regarding the qualifications of seafarers which would disqualify many Filipino crew members, Marcos has voiced support for the added education it would need to ready our seafarers for the change that is to come. Filipinos are one of the largest workforce in the maritime industry. It would surely cripple the industry, but we've also got to fight for more rights, benefits, and wages for our unsung heroes. If you've seen Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, you'd see how much the excess workforce brings down the wage and benefits for our seafarers. They need governmental protection and security, such as a deployment ban that could give us a bargaining power that we collectively should already have had. These businessmen spend too much on the ship and not enough for their crews. Remember when y'all got angry at Lenny when she suggested and recommended more education needed for our Filipino crew members, citing the update or the upcoming update in the EU. But I won't say I told you so because she told you so. Carlito Galvez and suspended attorney Larry Gadon appointed. Carlito Galvez was appointed as the presidential advisor on peace, reconciliation, and unity. As we all know, Carlito Galvez Jr. also served under former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte from 2016 to 2022. While after what could have been assumed as due to the appointment ban and probably a favor, infamous propagandist blank rider attorney Larry Gadon was appointed as the presidential advisor for poverty alleviation. His qualifications, I don't know, is probably a libertarian but also a populist, and that chimes in well. He also lost the Senate race. These are the news headlines for Tuesday, 27th of June, 2023. Human trafficking ring, online casinos. Endless Connector Fair, and new Department of Tourism slogan. Human trafficking ring, online casino. A human trafficking ring operated for an online casino has been raided by the PNP consisting of 2,700 trafficked lives, working 12 hours. They are what we would call undocumented trafficked illegal immigrants. If you could recall from May, 1,090 lives was saved in a human trafficking ring in Clark, Pampanga on an unregulated BOGO hub including gambling and investment of bogus cryptocurrencies for rug pulls. Both cases consist of numerous nationalities, comprise the abused lives including citizens from Southeast Asia, China, and South Asia. That raid by the PNP has also prompted the resignation of some officials from the CDC or Clark Development Corporation, at least the BOGO hub in Clark, Pampanga last May. NLEX Connector Fare. The NLEX Connector from Caloocan to España will now be having a fare minimum for toll gates with Class 1 vehicles at 86 pesos, Class 2 at 215 pesos, and Class 3 vehicles at 302 pesos. Now I thought they were already was tolling motorists driving through the connector in its first segment, but apparently not. Now why is C3 still so congested in our region? I know that connector all too well because it's literally too near the horizon of our house whenever I look in our terrace. I also want to reiterate the fact that the tolling motorists passing through the NLEX connector and any connector for that matter will only drive people to drive under, leading to more congested roads rather than its stated goals of reducing congestion. That is true irony. New Department of Tourism slogan. The known all too well slogan of the Philippines was "Lord knows who does not pay" by Gloria. It's more fun in the Philippines. The former DOT slogan for the Philippines tourism is "It's more fun in the Philippines." However, the Department of Tourism has revised and launched the new slogan "Love the Philippines." Still too basic if I'm the one concerned. How much did they pay those marketers to come up with that brilliant basic ass slogan? These are the news headlines for Wednesday, 28th of June, 2023. Larigadon disbarred via Supreme Court, and SC declares suspension of barangay and SK elections unconstitutional. Larigadon disbarred via Supreme Court. The recently appointed presidential advisor on poverty alleviation, infamous propagandist Blank Rider, had his license revoked and disbarred by the Supreme Court 15-0 over his viral video back then over scandalous verbal harassment of a
Mga bobo! Mga bobo! Mga bobo! Ikaw, bobo, putangin na mo ka!
journalist as he shouted "mga bobo" and other sexist and misogynistic language, which, to be honest, I didn't even know that there was such a thing as sexist and misogynistic in that infamous video. I actually love the video of his crass comebacks and overall being a populist. That's the Duterte way, as I would like to call it. And also, he shouted out our school, so that's cool. He alleged this is but a comeback after he had filed an impeachment case for the justices, or at least some of the justices. Please, after I get my law license, don't revoke it over those simple comments. Duterte is a lawyer and a politician, yet he was not disbarred. He had said some scandalous stuff, more than what Larigadon has said. So please, have your reservations if I ever face such probing. We still need freedom of speech. Although I guess there will be some time where freedom of speech must be limited, or at least the consequence of that speech. SC declares suspension of barangay and SK elections unconstitutional. The Supreme Court has declared the proposed suspension of the barangay and SK elections to be unconstitutional after numerous interruptions over numerous factors over numerous years, citing the readiness of FAMELEC. October 30 was the set date for the election. These are the news headlines for Thursday, 29th of June, 2023. Updated minimum wage in NCR, SIM registration over 100 million up the twos. Updated minimum wage in NCR. The NCR Wage Board has granted a minimum wage increase for workers in the private sector of about an additional 40 pesos, bringing the daily minimum wage from 570 pesos to 610 pesos for the non-agriculture sector and 533 pesos to 573 pesos for the agricultural sector and any service or retail establishment employing 15 or less workers and manufacturing establishments with less than 10 workers, though inflation adds an additional tax to all the income and value by the laborers. The change will be implemented in July 16, 2023. I've always pushed for minimum wage hikes in places where it makes sense. However, it also means opposing the push for a uniform national minimum wage because we're still a developing country. We need our business side to develop, entrepreneurial spirit to overflow before we can support a minimum wage hike across the board. Think of this as investing in the long-term progress and mobility of our nation. The system we operate under requires that sacrifice, like Amazon reinvesting in stock buybacks, or what we should be doing, profit reinvestment, instead of running deficits every single time. SIM registration over 100 million up the tools. According to the National Telecommunications Corporation, or NTC, SIM registrations have surpassed the 100 million mark of the users. The deadline for SIM registration is only up until July 25, 2023. Those who would not be able to register the SIM cards would lose their access to e-wallets such as GCash or Maya or whatever you use. The SIM registration bill was first vetoed by former President Duterte but was passed by President Bongbong earlier this year. The registration bill aimed to mitigate the dangers and proliferation of scam calls and texts due to anonymity and low cost. These are the news headlines for Friday, 30th of June 2023. SC Meralco announcement disconnection notice. Meralco announcement disconnection notice. The Supreme Court of the Philippines has commanded Meralco to give leeway and announcement regarding disconnection notices 48 hours or earlier before the power disconnection. This came about after a decision and ruling from 2018 when a disconnection notice was given to a customer the day it was delivered and was immediately and subsequently cut off the power grid way back in 1999. 19 years for justice. Also, this is your end for the year, guys. Back it up. And that's the end of the News I Deem Worthy Recap Weekly Edition from June 25th to Friday, 30th of June 2023. This is also the end of the NIDW recaps for June 2023. Hope for many more moons and rotations to the sun and other rotations, etc. Thank you all for a full month of actual views, though not much engagement. I strive to do better when it comes to video production and delivering the news as fast as my apathy allows. I plan on using more stuff to make this as engaging as possible. I'm also rethinking the language thing, maybe put in some of my native language for y'all to adapt my language. Suggest some more topics and or corrections to the news if you feel I misrepresented them in any way. Salamat sa panonood mga kabayang Avorme. Like this video, subscribe, and follow my links and socials on Avor Joseph that would be linked down below. This video purely serves as a summarization of news I deem worthy for myself. So yeah, sa susunod muli, paalam.